Back in 1974, a series of telepathic recordings surfaced, claiming to be from an extraterrestrial consciousness named Hatonn. Now, whether you buy the origin story or not, the ideas themselves, they're pretty fascinating. So let's just set the source aside for a moment and dive into the philosophical framework they presented. Think of it as a thought experiment.
And this quote right here, this is the entire premise of their message. It's the central problem they've come to talk about. The idea that humanity has made a fundamental error, a great mistake, by getting lost in the material world and completely ignoring the spiritual reality that, according to them, underpins everything.
So what is this great mistake exactly? Well, according to this source, it's the fact that we're all living inside a giant, collective illusion, and we've mistaken it for the real deal. The texts basically lay out these two competing versions of reality. On the one hand, you've got the illusion we all live in. We think we're separate, we're driven by stuff, by fear, the daily grind. But on the other hand, they propose a totally different reality, that the universe is 100% spiritual, a unified consciousness of love and light where everything and everyone is fundamentally one. The whole argument is that we're just so caught up in the illusion that we've totally forgotten who and what we actually are.
Okay, so why can't we just think our way out of this illusion? Well, the texts use this great analogy. Imagine our intellect is a small island. It's super useful for understanding everything on the island, right? But it's completely incapable of understanding the vast, limitless ocean that surrounds it. That ocean, that's the true unified consciousness. Our analytical mind, by its very nature, just isn't the right tool for the job. It can't grasp infinity.
So if this information is so critical, who's sending it? And why do it in such a strange way? Well, the source, this confederation of planets, says their method is actually very deliberate. And this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? If you're real, why all the mystery? Why not just land a ship on the White House lawn and end the debate once and for all? Well, the texts actually tackle this head-on, and their answer gets right to the heart of their entire philosophy. The answer, in a word, is free will. They claim to follow a strict prime directive of non-interference. Think about it. If they gave us absolute proof, it would force belief. And forced belief, they say, has zero spiritual value. It could also cause mass panic or, on the flip side, inspire worship. And they see both of those outcomes as a major disservice to us. Their goal is only to serve the people who are already looking for answers, to help spark an internal search, never to impose an external truth.
All right, so if the journey has to be an internal one, what's the roadmap? What are the tools? The texts lay out a really clear, practical path for anyone who wants to try and break out of the illusion. They give us 3 core tools that actually work together in a kind of self-perpetuating cycle. First, you need the desire to seek. That's the engine, the fuel for the whole journey. Second, you use meditation, which acts as a compass to quiet the noisy intellect we talked about. And third, you express what you've learned through service to others. The cool part is that act of service generates more love and understanding, which then fuels a deeper desire to seek, and the whole loop starts over, but stronger.
And it's important to understand what they mean by meditation. It's not just about relaxing or de-stressing. In this context, it's a very specific technique for deliberately silencing that chattering, analytical part of your brain. The whole point is to allow your deeper consciousness to finally get a word in, to connect with that feeling of unity and receive wisdom from within. Now, beyond all the philosophy, the tone of these 1974 texts starts to shift. It becomes really urgent. And there's a very specific reason they felt this information had to get out. Right then and there. The time has grown quite short, pops up over and over. They explain that a major planetary cycle is coming to an end, and they believe something big is on the horizon. This, they say, is why they ramped up their efforts to reach anyone who is looking for them. The source of this urgency is what they call a vibrational mismatch. The idea is that our entire planet is moving into a new part of the cosmos, one with a higher energy, or fourth density. The problem? Humanity's collective consciousness, full of fear and separation, is still humming along at the old third density frequency.
It's like the universe is changing the radio station, but we're stuck on the old one. And this cosmic disharmony, they warn, is going to have some very real physical consequences. They describe these consequences pretty bluntly. Major Earth changes, earthquakes, intense storms, volcanoes, even a polar shift. But here's the fascinating part, the way they frame it. This isn't a punishment. It's not doom and gloom. The whole purpose, they say, is to act as a planetary alarm clock, a violent awakening, just forceful enough to shatter the illusion for everyone still slumbering and force them to finally ask the big questions. So, after all this, the seeking, the meditation, the service, the cataclysms, where does it all actually lead? What's the final destination of this path? Well, it all boils down to a single profound realization. To explain it, the texts tell this really simple parable. There's a rich man who has everything you could possibly want except love. He doesn't know what it is, so he goes to a poor wise man and asks him how to find it. And the wise man, in response, just gives the rich man everything he owns. The rich man is, understandably, baffled. He comes back and asks, "Why would you do that?" And the wise man explains, "I have a great love for you, and I can see that you desire wealth. So the most loving thing I could do was to serve your desire, to give you what you want."
And right there, that's the light bulb moment. By being on the receiving end of such a selfless act of service, the rich man finally understands love. And in that moment of understanding, he feels an even greater love by giving in return. The lesson is crystal clear. You don't get love. You experience love by giving it.
The parable really just illustrates what the texts call a fundamental law of creation, the paradox of service. If you truly wish to receive something, love, abundance, wisdom, you have to give it away first. Giving and receiving aren't opposites. They're the same energy flowing in a circle. And so, this is the ultimate goal. The whole point of the path is to fully, deeply realize this unity, to stop seeing yourself as that tiny, separate island, and to finally know in your bones that you are the entire ocean. To understand that there is no separation. It's all one thing, all the Creator, all love. In the end, this entire philosophy leaves us with one incredibly personal question. The whole system rests on the idea that the universe mirrors your desires back to you, whether you're conscious of them or not. So the final question isn't about them or about their reality. It's about you. What do you truly desire?